Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Abigail Grace, or Abby, and I'm joined with Kate, who, if you watched my reorganizing my bookshelves video, she was quite the star in that video, and I'm hopeful that she'll be quiet. I'm sitting here on my bed, which is her favorite spot, so hopefully she'll just sit in my lap and be quiet, because during that video, unless I was holding her, she was going crazy. So if you haven't seen that video, go watch it. But for now, she's being good. So we're gonna roll with it. Today's video is going to be my most anticipated reads of 2024 video. So I have a few new releases that I'm going to talk about. Obviously not all releases for all of 2024 have been like announced. There will be books like for the latter half of the year that haven't been announced yet. So I have, I think, like 17 books that have already been announced and most of all of them are pre like June. So there's a lot of summery themed books, but we're just gonna get into it. A lot of these are popular, but they're popular for a reason. They're continuations of series, they're books by authors that I really like, things like that. But we're just gonna get into it, talk about them. Also, I'm not really gonna do these in order. I will talk about House of Flame and Shadow first, because it does come out at the end of January, but these are all in random order. So some of these come out like in March, some come out in June, but I'm not gonna talk about them in order. I'm just gonna talk about them in the order that I screenshotted them from Goodreads on my phone. As I said, first we're talking about House of Flame and Shadow, which is by Sarah J. Maas. This is Crescent City 3, which maybe if you're on a different side of book talk or booktube than me, you haven't heard literally everyone and their mom talking about it, doing rereads, getting ready for Crescent City 3, but that is the side of TikTok that I'm on, and I am so excited. There's so many theories, so many things. I have it pre-ordered, and I'm just excited to keep going with Bryce's story. I did a whole spoiler-free reading vlog of Crescent City, which I will link, because I just recently read Crescent City for the first time, and I'm reading them on Audible. So I myself am also doing some rereads in preparation. I reread all of ACOTAR. I didn't reread Throne of Glass, but I read Throne of Glass for the first time last year, so I feel like I have a pretty good firm grasp. And even though I recently read Crescent City, I felt like might as well listen to them just when I have the free time. So I'm almost done with House of Earth and Blood, which is the first Crescent City, on audiobook, and then I'll listen to as much as I can of Sky and Breath before book 3 comes out. But I'm so excited, and there's just so many theories, so many things. Obviously I want to keep things as spoiler free as possible, so I won't go into them really that much, but I will say I'm very excited, and I've been rereading lots of books in preparation. Next I have The Dixon Rule, which I recently read The Graham Effect, which is the like next generation or like spin-off series of Briar U and Off Campus. So Off Campus is like the original ones, which has like Garrett Graham, John Logan, like the original 4 guys, and that's the Off Campus one. And then Briar U follows another group of guys that are like a few years younger than the original Off Campus guys, and this new series follows like the next generation. So the first book, The Graham Effect, followed Garrett Graham's daughter. So you get to, I don't know, we'll see how the rest of the books go, but at least in this one we got to see Garrett some, maybe not a lot, but some, because it was his daughter. So I loved that. Garrett, I think, is my favorite of like all of them. And there is a second one in that spin-off series. The spin-off series is called Campus Diaries. And this is the second one. And that's the Dixon Rule. So I'm really excited. I love Elle Kennedy hockey romance. She has other stuff that's not hockey romance, but in my mind, she is the cornerstone of hockey romance. Like, she is what got a lot of people into hockey romance, I think, and was like the original hockey girl. And so I'm just excited. I love her stuff. Next, I have This Summer Will Be Different, which is Carly Fortune's third book. And her first book was Every Summer After, and then the next one was Meet Me at the Lake. A lot of people had mixed reviews on both of those. Every Summer After, like, one of the main tropes is kind of a bummer. And then Meet Me at the Lake got mixed reviews. I think I gave it 3 stars. I will still be reading This Summer Will Be Different because I think even though I didn't love Meet Me at the Lake, Every Summer After had some tropes and this other stuff that I really enjoyed, despite just one trope being unfortunate. So I'm excited for This Summer Will Be Different. I'm not really sure what the plot line's going to be about yet, but it's coming out in like May. It's a summer book. Carly Fortune always writes like summery themed rom-coms, and I love that vibe. It's the same vibe as, they're not as good as Emily Henry, but like, it's just like a good beach read. I think like lighthearted, fun, good for a beach read. Next, I have The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson. Lana Ferguson wrote The Nanny and The Fake Mate, which I have read both of those. I actually just read The Fake Mate and it was so fun. It was like a wolf shifter book. And I mean, it wasn't a fantasy as in like ACOTAR. It was just a rom-com, but the main characters were wolf shifters and I loved it. It kind of is, I don't want to say it's kind of like, because I have not read Bride, which is an Allie Hazelwood new release, but it's giving that same kind of vibe of like, it's just a rom-com, but the main characters happen to be vampires or werewolves kind of thing, because there's no like world building, there's no politics, it's just is what it is. And that, I really liked The Fake Mate, I liked The Nanny, so I'm excited to see what her next release is going to be about. I believe it's a sports romance. The Game Changer is giving sports romance. So there's that. And then hopping back on the hockey romance, we have Daydream, which is the third Maple Hills book. The first one, Icebreaker, went super viral on TikTok. I read it. A lot of people read it. And then the second one was Wildfire. And although the MMC is a hockey player, it takes place at summer camp and hockey is like a minor subplot. But all of the like MMCs, it follows different ones from the same hockey team, from the same school. And they're all hockey players, or at least the first 3, they've all been hockey players. So we'll see if this third one falls back to more hockey, because as much as Wildfire was good, like I want to read a hockey romance. If he's a hockey player, why is that not like a central part of it? So Daydream comes out in June and I'm very excited. I think it'll probably be good. Next, I have Reckless by Lauren Roberts. This is the second in the Powerless trilogy. Powerless was a 5-star read for me. It's such a good YA fantasy book that has a lot of my favorite like tropes and things from some of my favorite like nostalgic YA fantasy stuff, like The Hunger Games, Divergent. Like there's just, it's got a lot of good callbacks that I love. But it also feels new and fresh, and I love the banter. The banter is so good in that one, so I'm really excited for Reckless to see where it goes. I think Lauren Roberts is a great author, and Powerless was her debut, so I'm really excited to see where the trilogy goes. Next, I have The Getaway List by Emma Lord. I personally really like Emma Lord. One of my favorite books that I read last year was Begin Again, and I personally think that's her best one. I've read a bunch of her other stuff, and I do think Begin Again is my favorite one, but I will be excited to see how The Getaway List is, and that one comes out actually in like a week, so we'll see what I think. But I do think if you're looking for like a YA rom-com, Emma Lord writes a good one. As I mentioned previously when I talked about Lana Ferguson and The Fake Mate, Bride by Ali Hazelwood comes out in February, and I am very excited. I think this is going to be like a fun, different thing for Ali Hazelwood, because as we know, she wrote her first YA rom-com that came out that was like had to do with chess, check and mate. But besides that, she's only written like STEM romance. And so I'm excited to read something different from her that's still also an adult romance. So excited to see how that one goes. And like I said, I love just like the elements of fantasy, but none of the like politics and world building, because sometimes that can be so hard to get into and a big commitment, whereas this is just like a fun, lighthearted commitment. Next, I have A Governess's Guide to Peril and Passion. This is the fourth in a series. The series is called Ladies Most Scandalous. It comes out in March. It's a historical romance. I've read a lot of historical romance, and I will continue to read historical romance. I've said this before, but I think something about the pining and everything has to be so secretive, because things were much more like secretive, cloak and dagger, like everyone, like if you held hands, it was like you have to get married. So I think something about that like drama and intrigue just like is so fun for me, and I will eat up a historical romance every time. And I think this is a really good series. It's by Amanda Collins, so check it out if you're into like historical romance, Bridgerton, all that stuff. Next, we have Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. This is an adult romance by her. She writes both adult and YA romance. She's one of my favorite authors. She's auto-buy always. I love her YA. Her adult romance is good too, but I do think her YA will always hold a special place in my heart. But this is a adult romance. It was previously called The Objectors, I believe, and the premise is basically this guy, you can hire this guy to like object at your wedding, and he like starts a business of it. Some girl gets entwined in it. I don't know. That's like the general premise, is that they like object at weddings. Obviously there's a romance in there somehow, but I'm really excited. Honestly, even if I knew nothing about it, I will always buy a Lynn Painter book, so this one's gonna be good, hopefully. Comes out in March. Next, I have The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. Sarah Adams writes adult closed door romance. So she wrote, what did she write? Let me look at my shelf. Can I see my Sarah Adams? Oh, Practice Makes Perfect and When in Rome, and also some other football one, which I cannot remember the name of. Anyway, she's had several books go viral on TikTok, and as I said, it's closed door, so not super spicy, good if you don't want a lot of spice. Sarah Adams is perfect for you. I believe The Rule Book is a sports romance, just based on the title, but I don't really know what the premise is. It comes out in April, so we'll see. Funny Story by Emily Henry. Emily Henry, similar to Lynn Painter, is an auto-buy author for me. I love her stuff. Every time I reread one of her books, I'm like, oh, this is my new favorite book. And then I reread the other one and I'm like, nope, this is my favorite. So I just think, not she can do no wrong, but close. Truly close. Because, I don't know, she just writes so much about, I feel like, the human experience. Each one of her books has an element of just, yeah, it relates to the human experience so much of like, oh my gosh, I thought I was alone in this, but it turns out other people feel this way too, and it's okay to feel this way. It's amazing. I love her stuff. And apparently Funny Story is very good based on some of the stuff I've seen of people getting arcs. I would love an arc. Anyone out there listening, but we'll see if I get one. Probably won't. I'll probably have to wait until April like everyone else, but I will still devour it just the same as everyone else. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I love Abby Jimenez. I think she is a great author. Her stuff, similar to Emily Henry, it writes about relatable issues that are so well done. Like grief, anxiety, yeah, etc. Just in a way that does not make light of it in a book that is inherently lighthearted because it's a romance, but in such a way that you feel a connection to the characters and are happy when they end up and have a happily ever after, because you want that for them. So I'm excited. Just for the Summer is like not connected to any of her other books because her recent releases have been like interconnected standalones. So if this one's connected to something else, it has not come out yet. So this could just be a true standalone, but I'm excited. Again, it's a summer book. It's a beach read. I love those. Another Allie Hazelwood book, she has a few books coming out this year, which I'm excited, is Not in Love. And this is a STEM romance, which I said is what she usually writes. And I love her STEM romances. Some people are like, oh, they're all the same. Like she writes the same thing every time. I don't care. I love them. They're good. So I'm excited for another STEM romance. And I'm sure I'll eat it up. I'm sure it'll be 4 or 5 stars. Cannot wait. Thank you, Allie, for giving me what I want and deserve in another STEM romance. Next, I have The Prisoner's Throne, which is the conclusion to the Stolen Heir duology. The Stolen Heir duology is set in the same world as The Cruel Prince. The Cruel Prince follows like Jude and Cardan, and the Stolen Heir duology follows Oak, who is like the younger brother-ish of Jude. So it's a few years later from the events that take place in The Cruel Prince, but set in the same world with some of the same characters. Yeah. I did not love The Stolen Heir as much as I wanted to because I really enjoyed the Cruel Prince trilogy. The Stolen Heir was not my favorite. That being said, I'm still excited and looking forward to the conclusion of that story because Holly Black, this might be the last, who knows? But as far as I know, she has no other plans to continue writing books from this like world. So it'll be good to see that conclusion of that and see what happens with Oak. Next, I have another cowboy, well, I guess I haven't talked about any cowboy romances, but Swift and Saddled, which is the second in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. The first one was Done and Dusted. It's by Lila Sage, and I'm so excited. The first one was so good. You know I'm a cowboy romance girl. I went through a huge cowboy romance phase where I read all of Elsie Silver, and in my opinion, Done and Dusted fits right in with Elsie Silver and like the Chestnut Springs series. So if you read those and love them, you should read Done and Dusted because Swift and Saddled comes out in March and you need to be prepared. So I'm excited. Also, the covers on these are so good. I love the cover art on both Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled. So chef's kiss. Shout out to whoever is the illustrator for those books. You did a good job. Speaking of cowboy romance, we have a new Elsie Silver series. So this is Wild Love, which is Rose Hill, a new series. It's the Rose Hill series, which is adjacently connected to Chestnut Springs. It's the brother of one of the girls from Chestnut Springs. It's his story. I don't know if it's really going to be like cowboy, but it will be like small town is the vibes that I'm getting. And I'm really excited. I love Elsie Silver. She can do no wrong in my mind. Chestnut Springs and Gold Rush Ranch are stunning, so I can't wait for Wild Love. I think the cover reveal was recent, and I'm just so excited. The tropes look so good. So those are some of my most anticipated releases for 2024. Let me know if there's anything that you're excited for releasing in 2024 that you think I should put on my radar, that I should add to my TBR, and I will definitely put it on there. There's so many good things coming out. Really, I feel like I could only read new releases or things from authors that I already know and be totally happy. But of course, I'm sure I'll discover something new that I totally love. So that is the end of this video. I will see you in my next one, and y'all have a great rest of your day. Bye.